talking more about the loss that they're going to have to the UK, to England.
Nobody cares. You have to understand, nobody cares. That's just the thing. Nobody cares. Just you guys. It's going to be the first time you guys have gotten a win against us since what, 1776, give or take. So we'll take
Wow.
the L.
Oh, someone's
Welcome
agitated.
back to another episode of Leading Crypto. On that note, as we stroll into this shorter trading week as far as the stock market will go, of course, not in the cryptocurrency world because we never close. We've got a national holiday coming up in 2 days. We've got some pretty decent movement in the markets. Yesterday, very briefly and very small, but we did make a new low for Bitcoin, while Ethereum has just been straight teasing and teabagging the lows that it's been put in for quite some time now. So we're going to take a look at Ethereum, we're going to take a look at Bitcoin, and we're going to take a look at the S&P 500, give some thoughts, give some insight, some outlook, order flow and open interest, of course. And if that sounds interesting and good to you, be sure to like and subscribe to this channel. Stay along for the entire video. And the number one question has got to be, Max, how is Burr Milk doing today?
Very good, mate. 6-2 win. Very, very, very good.
Magic, how is it in Kansas City today, sir?
It is always fantastic, and go Chiefs, real football. Also, just want to let Max know that even though we don't care about soccer, we're still going to just win that match just to prove that, we're still the better country. So drink some tea over there in Dubai and enjoy yourself.
Wow.
But yeah, we'll hop into the charts. We'll look at Bitcoin and a couple of the others here. Pretty simple stuff. We'll kind of cover a little bit of what we've already been talking about. So if you guys watch this show, you know that we've been discussing the idea that we were going to make a new low. And the reason is this was just not a good low. It was a poor low all around. And so we kind of knew what to expect. We discussed it going into last week. You're making these higher lows. However, you're not doing anything but consolidating. So unless we're getting exactly what we wanted in terms of a short, which would have been from a little bit higher up, I was really just content to wait for this move. And I got several longs off of here. Took some profits at the previous day point of control coming into it. And now if we were just looking at this, you can see you could just section off last week. It's something that we do every single week in the group. I always go through where's the EQ, where's the high, where's the low of the week before us. And you can see this is the range that you're given. So you found your way back into it. And now you're working your way back up to like that weekly open area. So for me, nothing really changes until Bitcoin's back above, these highs right here and actually holding them as support, which is coming in between 17.6 and probably the Q3 low here at around 18,090. 17,592 is a new caveman level for the coming 2 weeks. And so that'll be a fairly important inflection point because it also coincides with the Q2 low, which was the overall low from our prior range. So very, very easy levels to work off of. If I was looking for a short, personally, I would be a little bit more patient. I haven't looked at any of the order flow coming into today. I've been busy this morning, but you can see that we've got some statistical targets here up in this region and that we do have a new NPOC on the weekly time frame at 16,700. So there is a case to be made that if we're living in this area without breaking back down below, say, 15,770, one would expect to see, 16,270, then 16,400, 16,500, and ultimately maybe even the 16,700 level here before looking for opportunities. So those are the areas I'm going to have marked off. It's where I'm going to put my alerts and wait for the reaction. And if it's tradable, I'll look for shorts in that region. I don't think there's anything else to really cover on Bitcoin. SPX. So we talked about this last week where we were watching the potential for what I call fun, because the shark, while technically has completed, still has time to make a push to the upside here and fill in that Q3 NPOC. Now, what did develop is you don't normally get shifts in your yearly range that often, but we did get one. You'll notice that the point of control has actually shifted down. It was previously up here near this Q3 NPOC. So now it has shifted down to price here. So if price starts losing 39.23, that actually doesn't look that great to me. I mean, the backfill of this gap is probably definitely going to happen, but I would expect to see more sell-off probably down into this support zone again. So still looking to see if this is going to complete this move on time. Now we've got a little bit into this week to do so and see if we can't push up into this resistance above here. If not, you look for down below, and that'll coincide with Bitcoin. And the other one was the Dixie. That was an easy trade. for anyone that was paying attention to it. And we got to clean up our chart just a little bit here. So we've talked about a couple harmonics on this one already. You had a bat setup, so really nice, where you established the 0.5 range, back up to the range highs, and then what have you done? You've set the table for a move down to challenge the range lows, which is what you've done again. So you've got a really clear range that's all this harmonic is demonstrating. So now what do we want to see? We want to see it come back to about the EQ of the range, or the B leg in this case, around 110, and see what kind of reaction we get. You've got resistance between 110.05 to 110.93, basically this gold pocket here. So be a back test of your regression as well. So this regression is getting things very nicely. It is getting updated as well, because this is based on a year. And so every day that we get new price action, it does adjust itself. But 10 months in, almost 11 months in now, you're going to play that. If you get it, it's a nice back test of this channel to the upside. So it's all I would be looking at. DXY looks like further upside. Bitcoin, I would like to see Bitcoin, if it's going to rally, I think that it needs to do so probably this week. It needs to make a push and reclaim some ground. Otherwise, I think we do get continuation. And by continuation, I don't mean like to drastic targets. Since we're a little more zoomed out now from this low time frame range right here, we can say that, well, if we're not getting reclaim, and you can see right here at 16.7, really kind of your first major key area that you've got to be back above. If you don't see that this week, it looks like it wants to make another attempt lower. It doesn't mean that it's going to, just nuke to 10K. While anything is possible, I still think that 13,880 is the next level. We've been talking about it forever, and we're not taking it off our charts just because it haven't hit yet. We just have to be patient. So that's really all I've got on it. Turn it over to Maxwell.
Pop my screen up. There we go. So first thing I'm going to go over is obviously the SFP that we had. Now, one thing to note, which I don't have any statistics on or anything like that, but we were actually nowhere near it. If I'm on the CME chart, we were nowhere near the actual low on that chart in particular. So I'm sure this has some relevance because, well, it definitely has some relevance. The fact that we haven't come down and taken this low, well, I would have preferred if the CME also took this one. Granted, there's been a huge discrepancy between CMEs and, I guess, spot and futures that we are all trading on. But the fact we came nowhere near it, it's interesting to say the least. So expecting, I don't know, can always try and make out that we come and take it. But the low was really, it wasn't taken by much, specifically on Bybit. It was taken by, actually, let's double check it so I'm sure. So it was, the low was 450 there, and the low was 437 there. So $13. It wasn't, you're not really tapping into the liquidity that is down there. Now on Coinbase, you really did take it. You took it by like a fair bit more. I'm not going to try and work that one out, but it's you wicked more below it than we did on Bybit. So you didn't really tap into the liquidity there, but it was an SFP and it was tradable. So, taking the low, close back above it. If you're waiting for just closures, you've got them. But also if you zoom in on the order flow, we say that you need one of two things: trap traders or stagnant open interest, which shows positions changing hands. You didn't have, what you had at the low was actually shorts entering and then became trapped. But interesting, the candle before, one could make a case for positions changing hands. But I would say the better option for this one in particular was the fact you had increasing open interest on negative delta right at the lows, as you then closed back above it. And in the next candle, you then saw increasing open interest on buyers coming into the market. So there's your two things that you want to see, trap traders, buyers coming into the market. Granted, the move up after this was abysmal from an order flow standpoint. The open interest wasn't really there. The increases when you're having, really high delta are not that large. You've actually got shorts coming in still. It's not the strongest move up, and it hasn't been. Pretty much the whole trading day, let me hide the mark because it's awful, has been, it's been really abysmal because you've not had buyers really step in at any point to really push the market higher. Whenever you've had, large increases in price, like we've driven up here, it's been on decreasing open interest, so it's been on shorts closing out. It's not the strongest of moves. Doesn't mean that it's going to just fall apart, but it means that there's not really any liquidity here effectively if we were to come back below it. It's look at it as like an inefficiency, basically. It's come up with no one actually buying. It can come down very quickly because there's no one there to either defend their positions, or there's just nothing there to really hold the price up. Now, at the top here, we have seen some places where buyers have come in, and there has been shorts coming in. So, we had quite a few shorts come in here and at the top here. But again, we're still waiting for buyers to really get used to this price rising and then come in and take it away. You're getting glimmers of it, but it's not the strongest currently. Do we actually have bear div here? It looks like we have a little bit of bearish divergence right now with these highs, but I'm not really going to be trading that until we start to lose some levels. The best trade that I've seen today really is the fact we came down and tested the golden pocket. I've not really had anything else. That's the only trade I took, but I closed it out of the VWAP regrettably at this point. But yeah, it was the only trade that I've personally taken and spotted all day. So it's kind of just waiting. I've got another chart here, so let me try and copy and paste something over. It was the Asia high. So this high here was where we were looking at in the group for a potential SFP if we were going to get one. But price was literally, if I go to a lower term time frame, teasing it for some time. But I said I said in the group, I think it was Lola that was messaging. I said you have to wait for a setup because we hadn't had one at this level. You have to wait for it to be given to then take it. There's no point front running a trade setup when you've not really had any reason to do so. You can't be above here and be thinking, oh, I think it's going to drop. I think SFP is coming. The SFP isn't there yet, so you can't trade. You have to wait for the setup, and then you got the next rise up. And as Magic said to me before stream, the next trade is realistically the previous day high, or an SFP of the previous day high, or you've got the weekly pivot on a golden pocket. Now I've pulled this golden pocket from a different area. I actually pulled it from this high, I believe. Yeah, this high here. Don't really ask me why it looked better on the hourly, to be fair. But yeah, that's the high I'm pulling it from. I'm kind of ignoring this high. I quite like the fact that this lines up with the pivot point. So that's the one or two potential shorts there. Longs from here is an interesting one because really the move up's been too weak for me to want to look for a long, specifically where we are now. So going to be waiting for another long setup to come. But the two shorts I can see are there. And yeah, the move up hasn't been the strongest. So it can always change if we get, we range for a little bit, some buys start to come in. Okay, then it changes. But while we're getting this fast move up on decreasing open interest, it's not the strongest. You need to have some liquidity coming in these areas, buyers coming in to offer some support if we to then retrace to them. That's the best way to really look at it. But yeah, that's all from me. Actually, let me check this one. Yeah, we've not got any single prints. We did get a buying tail yesterday on the low, so that is one up for the low. But the fact that you made two lows, two lows are always good to be taken, really. So it's not oftentimes that you leave two lows in such close proximity to each other and then, just blast off. So that is something to be aware of, really. But yeah, that's all I've got, guys. But another thing, the fact on the SFP of those two lows, the fact we're not getting any buyers, it's a difficult one to really judge on that one. So yeah, it makes it a weaker SFP. So that is something to be aware of and keep note of. But yeah, that's it. That's all I've got. You just short. Oh, we did get a little pump up there.
Hopefully they could all concentrate, after looking at that magnificent mustache the whole time you were talking.
I was actually just about to blow him up and be like, man, that no shave November is going so well. I don't think there's a dry.
I look like a nonce.
It looks good on you. You know what? What are those hats? What are those old timey hats that are like kind of like they're round on top? They're not like a ball cap though. Do you know what I'm talking about? From like the 30s, 40s.
Hats, like a top
I
hat.
can't remember. Not a top hat. No, I'll figure it out. We got to get to the bottom of this.
Like the golf hats.
Kind of like a golf hat. Let's see if we can find one. There's one right there. What kind of hat is this? Of course, it's not going to tell me. I'm going to send one to Dubai and make him wear it.
On it.
A little leading crypto logo.
We do envy his youth.
Yes, they do, Lola.
They envy your youth. Yes, that's it. We envy not being able to get facial hair. You are correct.
Dude, he's gonna have so much like gravy and mashed potatoes in that mustache on Thanksgiving, man. It's gonna be everywhere. It's like, how do you even contain yourself?
You think I celebrate Thanksgiving, mate?
I assume that you guys just adopted all of our holidays after the war, but
I tell you what, I will celebrate. I will celebrate on Friday when we get out.
They're called a cabbie hat. A cabbie hat is what they're called. So if you want to Google that, you can. But yeah,
that sounds about up his alley. All right, Ethereum. So, taking a look at the low time frame. In the Leading Crypto Discord, I update the daily levels every day for everybody to kind of look for some shorter term trades here, right? So, obviously, the trade of today, technically, and from last night and today, was you had a back test off your daily open and your daily key level right here. Short in that, I mean, this was super risky, right, in the sense because this is just a really small outlook. But the next look was going to be right here, the previous day low. Came down, took this. So yesterday's lows obviously got swept. Stop losses from anybody, right? That's the idea here. Basically, you run it back. So from here, ran it up. Nice run to the weekly open. Previous day point of control. If you see where we're at right now as well on a previous day range, comes up right to your value area high also. So in the short term here, you do have the previous day high just above here also, like 1147 in this little region. If you start clearing above that, we do have two statistical targets, right? You got an untapped daily key level, untapped weekly key level all the way up here. But if we start to actually, you got a high right here. It looks like if we get rejection at this previous day point of control, we probably start looking down. You got a couple PVA candles leading up here that come down to this daily level, which we were looking for yesterday. This was at the time an untapped daily, right at $1,100. Got the VWAP sitting here as well, daily open, things of that nature. So in a short term, returning to this area, local golden pocket is likely, right? So just coming back down once again to the $1,100 region. At that time, you probably want to pay attention to see how the rest of the day unfolds because we start losing that daily level. You'd be losing your daily open. You'd be losing your daily key level. Essentially, you'd be out of yesterday's range and you'd be back below the VWAP. So this area right here for me is still a major area to have on the chart. 1,037, 1,038, depends on what exchange you're looking at. I think on Coinbase, it's 1,031. This is the untapped daily, right? So that we're going to zoom out a little bit here. And just like yesterday, which we'll actually zoom out to the larger chart here. This is one of those things where you don't want to it depends on what you're doing, I suppose. If you're like, just coming in for a spot position, things of that nature, I guess you could kind of preset, but presetting on these areas can get rough, right? Because for example, this level right here is 1100. This was yesterday's, or at the time before we took it out, was the previous untapped daily, and you'll see how much we kind of shot through it, right? When we came down to it, 2-3% almost, basically drop down below it a couple times at this point. So presetting here, you would have been immediately down, if you were 10xing or anything of that nature, which most people do on leverage, right? At least 10x, you'd be down 30% right off the rip. And, assumably you'd be stopped out because I would imagine you're not going with a 30% stop loss, but that's just assuming. Zooming out, however, let's take a look at this. All right, so we were looking at this triangle, right? That probably everybody had their eye on at the time, which, it had played out essentially. At the time, we were looking at this untapped daily, which we were just talking about now. So that was $1,100. This is now tapped, right? We can take that off. This was never really meant to be anything more than a bounce opportunity, speed bump in the road. This was essentially just this low from over here back from November 9th. So coming down, sweeping that, right? Basically anybody that has been going long recently, would probably be putting their stop loss just below that. So you kind of swept down and took that out so far. I still just think that's a stop that speed bump on the way down to this region. And I really want to point out that, just the fact that, once again, this is the Coinbase chart. So now it's 1031, but when you zoom over here, right, when you're looking at this as a larger idea, and just assuming that Bitcoin actually comes down and really takes the low for a minute here and drops it like 2 or 3%, really stops out everybody, grabs liquidity, however you want to look at it. I could see the same thing happening right here with ETH. We still have our June low very well intact, and we haven't even taken out these other lows over here. The untapped daily right here also aligns with the 886 of this rise up as well. And that actually comes down to about $1,007. You got the wick right here that actually is at pretty much 1,008. So coming down, right, if you get it, and actually swooping into this region, right, just above $1,000, maybe even dipping below to 990, 980, things like that, and then coming back and reclaiming this daily would be what I'm looking for here on ETH on the short term, right? And that could really line us up for a decent move back up to some of these levels up here. Not saying we'd go back to all-time highs, but this could really, initiate a really decent move up, because what you're going to effectively do is now you're taking out everybody before the move, right? Anyone that's longed or gotten in the position or anything of that nature, everyone's stop loss is at least right here. This one is really far away. Obviously, that's got a lot of potential as well to come down and get took. But if we start living below that area, then we're opening up a bigger can of worms. But short term, still looking for, got a couple targets right below us. Like I said, that untapped daily is one of them. If we're looking at this in the sense of, right, you got the golden pocket and not the golden pocket, we're pulling up a fib area, right? You got the 886 right here, lines up with that low as well. So just kind of coming down, popping through, and then bouncing back up is totally something that is, on the table at the moment still, right? This would really make for a lot of fear in the market. You'd have to imagine if we're doing this on ETH, where Bitcoin is at the moment, we're very close to the low there as well. We kind of tapped into it. We kind of alluded to that, $13 was took from Bitcoin, but anybody with a stop loss has probably got a good percent below, 0.5%, a good percent below where that recent low was. So really sweeping through there would be something to kind of keep them, keep in the back of your mind. And then this would really be something I'd be looking for right there, right? So like just swoop that below that $1,000, come back at the reclaim, and that's what we'd be looking for. As far as any more potential upside. And then if we're just going to go up from here, once again, 1221 is that little line in the sand. Say we don't even get this opportunity, start living back above 1221 and challenge back into this quarterly key level. We do have the local golden pocket up here as well, live above this region, and that really separates us from probably running this range all the way, to these levels. But far away from us at the moment, really still kind of trying to, dig through here and see what we're getting. And then, of course, if things really start getting hairy, start losing these lows right here, it's devil's basement time, right? So that's still the strategy at hand. You got 528 all the way down there, and that's still not necessarily, the worst area that we, be considering. But ETH has been patience, right? Has really been the play. Personally, I've been waiting on this area for quite a while now. At least since we started coming our way down to basically this whole month, right? So once we started losing these levels right here, very much anticipated this. This was a new daily as we kind of came down and made it on the 9th. So just now came down and took that out almost 2 weeks later. And we'll see if we come down and actually swoop through this one. And otherwise, like I said, you really have your invalidations at this point. And 1221 is the key. Start close. I would really look for like a daily close back above here. Otherwise, coming back, get a back test, everything is still kind of on the table there. But until, this is met, I still think this is the most, biggest target for me essentially. And that does range down from 1,038 down to basically, let's call it even just 1,998, 997. Breaking into that under $1,000 region would really, spook everybody, especially if Bitcoin's making a decent new low. Everybody would probably start dumping everything. assuming that ETH is going to just melt to the downside as well. So it's very interesting to note where ETH is while Bitcoin is where Bitcoin is. So yeah, that's pretty much what I got for ETH. So I was going to take a look at Solana too. I know that I was looking at that last week. Got stopped out of that one, which that's just the name of the game, right? So I did get a position here around the Val. Was looking to take it up to this untapped weekly here, if given. Stopped out right below the low here. So at the moment, looking for a reclaim about 1260, and I'll try that once again. Otherwise, I'm out of Solana at the moment. So big devil's basement for Solana is like all the way down to like $3. So that would be an area to, if you're just looking to get a moon bag of something, it possibly goes to zero. That's the one I'm looking for. So yeah, stopped out, looking for the reclaim 1260, and then still looking to take it up to this region. So over time, obviously that would be more of a play if we do get something along the lines of what I just explained or described for Ethereum and Bitcoin. If we get a nice rise out of here, because this is no small move. It's like 50-60%. So that's just on spot. All right. While I've been talking, is there any new order flow and open interest news coming in? Usually we get a little New York moxie here. I see a bunch of big green candles coming out.
Yeah, so the rise up, you did have some buyers come in, but also be some, the open interest was weird on it. I'd have to go to alert on time frame to really check it out, but I'll come back to you.
I just want to see it take the local highs that it's at now and at least get into 16,270 and then see what it gives us. That's the only day trade I'm waiting on. Otherwise, I put live footage of Max checking out his mustache in the group in the members chat. So.
Yes.
The thing is, I have done it, like, can't I?
Yeah, I've seen you do it on the camera. You're just a couple earrings shy of that guy, man, and you guys are the same person. It's like looking in a mirror.
It's called a flat cap.
Yeah. Cabby,
it's
flat
interesting
cap.
that you're getting wicks to the upside on pretty much all the candles now. So, that's a bearish sign. But like you say, Magic, still waiting for the highs to be taken. Really, there's
I mean, technically, you took the local highs over there. You can see it right there on your chart. But
do you mean these ones here?
I wasn't at my computer when that happened, so I don't count it. And the only thing that
if Magic didn't have an alert, it doesn't count.
Yeah, well, the only thing that we did was we front ran the previous day value high, the previous day high, and the weekly open and the gold pocket for the China pivot. That would be it. That's what you've done. So, and I don't think we took 249.50. Yeah, we even left the more local high further to the left from the previous day. So, last week, that last Sunday session. So, I can't imagine we're going to leave those, but maybe we do. I don't know. If I was taking a trade, that's where I would take it from. I guess that's the point I'm trying to make. Hey. He probably thinks there's an intruder there because he doesn't recognize you without your hat on, bro.
He heard a cat scurry in the. Yeah, he is changing.
It's the mustache was throwing him off, dude.
Yeah.
He's like, who is this man?
I think it looks good. I think he should keep it year round. Probably improve his dating life. I think it'd be good for him.
Can you do the mutton chops?
It will kill my day.
Those
I don't think it will. How many people in Dubai have mustaches? Probably not that many.
Yeah, because they all look like nonces. I look like a nonce with this mustache. It's really bad.
In America, we don't know what that means. I assume
what is that? I thought you said none.
Is that like a creeper or like a pedophile? Pedophile. Gotcha. Yep. All right.
I look like a nunce. Do you drive a white van like through the streets of Dubai, or is that like, is it only like?
No, I have a really, it's like completely blacked out. So as soon as I get out with this mustache being as white as I am, it's like, what?
It's like
going on here.
All right. Well, sounds good. Well, tomorrow is Thanksgiving Eve for here in the States. So we'll obviously have another show for you all 10 a.m. Eastern. the stock market is closed Thursday. I don't know if we're going to do a show Thursday or not. We'll discuss that. We'll see how it goes. Maybe we'll do a recorded one. I do have a recorded version of Ethereum coming out for you guys later today. I was trying to get it out yesterday, and I did not make it properly. So I do apologize about that. But aside from that, and aside from the holiday weekend coming up ish, we will be here live every Monday through Friday. Holidays given at 10 a.m. Eastern. Going over pretty much everything we covered today and then some. Usually we'll cover whatever the flavor of the week is. At the moment, it's pretty much the entire market's just kind of stagnant.
Before we forget, tomorrow we have Kenneth on. Tomorrow is Kenneth at 10. So during tomorrow's live stream, guys, one of the guys that I met on TikTok a long time ago, Kenneth Suna, we're having him on, and he is actually someone I really want to bring on because he lives off of his investments that he's made over, the years. And he's like pretty close to my age. I'm 34 for anyone that doesn't know. And he lives off that. He doesn't work. He does minimal trading, and he just invests in dividend returning stocks and indices. And that's how he makes all his money. So we're having him on to go through like what's the first steps that he takes in terms of like, one, having an investing plan, because diversification is important. And we're at a point in the market where there's probably going to be some pretty good opportunities. So I would like to kind of pick his brain a little bit, because he doesn't do just TA. He does do TA, but he also reads the balance sheet. He goes through their documents to see what kind of their cash flow looks like. What does their debt look like? What does all that mean? And breaks it down before he puts his money in the market. I think that's really important. So make sure that tomorrow you come prepared with a pen and paper, because he's going to have some really good information. And if you guys have questions, obviously he can field those as we go.
Yeah. No, that'll be a really good way to kind of end the week, I think, too. That'd be nice. And yeah, for anybody interested in joining the Leading Crypto Discord server, if you want to jump in and make any kind of requests for certain cryptos or anything of that nature, if you just want to come in and chat with us as well, we do have a public section. We obviously have members only area where we do members only market updates Wednesdays and Sunday nights. So tomorrow night we'll actually have a pretty decent members only market update, which will be a nice one coming into a time frame where, like I said, we might not have 2 live streams Thursday and Friday going into the rest of the week. So with that update, and then the Sunday one, they'll be pretty big ones. Do that Sunday after the weekly close, of course. Aside from that, I think that's all we got for you all. So enjoy the rest of your morning, afternoon, and evening, wherever you're on this beautiful world. Get your turkey and gravy ready. Keep it away from Max's mustache. And until then, CBO, Magic Internet Money, and the Vape God.